listen to folk tales, and taste life's flavors. Hello everyone, welcome to Story in Today. I bring you a folk story called Anchang. If the story is wonderful, please leave your comments in the comment section. Please like and follow me. Thank you very much. During the Ming Wanli period, there was a narrow and slightly dark alley named Muyong Lane. In this alley lived all kinds of people. Among them, there is an unknown corner where a special profession, prostitute, was hidden. In the depths of Muyong Lane, there is a dilapidated courtyard. There lived a woman named Kunyang. Kunyang was originally a good family's daughter. Her family originally ran a small cloth shop. Although not rich, but she was well off. However, the turn of fate always comes suddenly. Her father was framed by a villain, and was involved in a false lawsuit, and was sealed up, and all the family's belongings were taken away. Her father couldn't bear the humiliation, and committed suicide in prison. And his mother fell ill and died soon, and soon passed away. At the age of 15, Kunyang was alone and helpless. She wanted to go to her distant relatives, but was robbed by thieves on the way. All his money was robbed. He was penniless, and ended up in Yingshinfu. He had no relatives, and couldn't find a decent livelihood, forced by hunger and despair. Kunyang was targeted by a madam. This madam is known as Aunt Mai, and is the operator of the prostitute trade in Muyong Lane. She saw that although Kunyang looked haggard, but still had some beauty, so she had an idea. Aunt Mai pretended to take Kunyang in, and gave her food, and a place to live. Kunyang initially thought she had met a good person, and was full of gratitude, but it didn't take long. May revealed her true colors. One night, Aunt Mai took Kunyang to a room. The room was filled with a pungent smell of powder. Aunt Mai smiled with a sneer, sighed to Kunyang. Kunyang, you've been working for me for so long for free. You should repay me. From today on you should receive guests. When Kunyang heard this, was struck by lightning. She cried and begged Mai to let her go, saying she was a good woman, and couldn't do such a thing. Aunt Mai said viciously, "A good girl? You don't even have a place to live. If I hadn't taken you in, you would have starved to death on the street. Now you only have this way to go." Kunyang resisted desperately. But as a weak woman, how could she compete with Aunt Mai and her thugs? She was finally forced to dress up, sitting in that room full of sin, waiting for her first customer. Kunyang's first customer was a rich business person over 50 years old. He was fat, who looked at Kunyang with lust as soon as he entered. Kunyang's eyes were full of fear and despair, but she had no choice. The rich man walked up and touched her. Kunyang tried to avoid, but was grabbed by the rich man. The rich man tore at Kunyang's clothes, while saying vulgar words. Kunyang felt like she was in hell. Her soul seemed to be torn apart little by little. Since then, Kunyang lived a dark life every day. She was forced to receive all kinds of guests, including vulgar market rogues. There are pretentious literati, and those who appear sanctimonious on the surface, but actually had dirty hearts. His heart was filled with hatred and pain. He has countless times thought of ending his life, but he thought his deep-seated hatred had not been avenged. He had a little courage to live. Among these guests, there was a young scholar named Zishuan, who was a down-and-out scholar. He came to Muyong Lane to find inspiration for creation. He heard that there were some unique characters and stories, and wanted to draw some inspiration from them. When he first met Kunyang, he was moved by the sadness and helplessness in her eyes. Unlike other guests, Zishuan didn't do anything frivolous to Kunyang. He just sat there quietly, listening to Kunyang tell her life story. Kunyang was initially wary of Zishuan, but gradually, she found that Zishuan was a kind-hearted person. Zishuan began to visit Kunyang frequently. He didn't come for pleasure, but to bring Kunyang some outside news, and tell her some stories from books, hoping to bring some comfort to Kunyang. Kunyang's already cold heart began to have a trace of warmth, but Aunt Mai was not happy. She thought Zishuan affected Kunyang's business, cutting off her source of income. So Aunt Mai began to make things difficult for Zishuan. She raised the price of Zishuan's visits. She also arranged other guests in Kunyang's room, and deliberately disturbed them. Although Zishuan was angry, but she was just a poor scholar. But she had no way. Kunyang saw that Zishuan suffered so much because of her, and felt very guilty. She decided to find a way to get rid of Aunt Mai's control. She began to secretly save some tips from guests, hoping to redeem herself one day. Meanwhile, she encouraged Zishuan to study hard. and obtain a title. Only in this way, they can truly change their destinies. Days passed by. Zixuan's studies also made great progress. He took the Xiangshi exam and passed it. When the news came, Kunyang was overjoyed. She felt that she and Zixuan finally had some hope. But after Aunt Mei heard the news, she was more worried that Kunyang would leave him. She began to torture Kunyang even more, reduced her food intake, and increased her hunger. Kunyang's health got worse and worse, but she still gritted her teeth and persisted. She only had one belief in her heart, that is to be with Zixuan, leave this hellish place. After being admitted, Zixuan didn't forget Kunyang. He reported to the government. Mei forced good women into prostitution. The government sent people to seal up Mei's yard and rescued Kunyang and other imprisoned women. Kunyang finally regained her freedom. She and Zixuan hugged each other and cried. Zixuan took Kunyang and left Muyong town. They started a new life in a peaceful town, and started a new life. Zixuan continued to study hard, and prepares to go to the capital for the imperial examination. Kunyang learned to read and write with Zixuan's help. His heart was also nourished by knowledge, was slowly healed. This story tells us that, no matter how dark the environment is, don't give up hope. Kunyang struggled in the dark quagmire, but never lost her yearning for a better life, and Zixuan's kindness and justice ultimately defeated evil. Meanwhile, this story also reflects the suffering of the lower classes in the Ming dynasty, and in that era of strict feudal ethics, the fate of women was often easily controlled by others. It reminds us to cherish equality and freedom in modern society, and also pay attention to those in distress, and give them help and support, and prevent them from being swallowed by darkness.